Good afternoon, one and all. I, Priya Duggal, on behalf of Professional Development Committee of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, welcome respected Chairman PDC CA Prasanna Kumar ji, respected Central Council member CA Gyanchand Mishra ji, and he is the Program Director for today's webinar on a practical approach to bank branch audit. Now, I would like to request CA Prasanna Kumar ji, Chairman PDC, to give the opening remarks for the webinar.
Yeah. Respected CA Gyanchand Mishra ji, the Central Council member and Program Coordinator for today's 2-hour session, and the speakers of today, CA Premnath and CA Giriraj Soni, and my dear participants. So, ladies and gentlemen, so good evening to all of you. I have great pleasure to welcome you for today's 2-hour session on a very important topic, that's a practical approach to bank branch audit. So, this is the series. For 3 days, we wanted to conduct for 6 hours on important aspects of the bank branch audit. Already we had one session, so last week, which was largely attended by all of you. The session went on very well, and we received a lot of comments also that everyone got benefited. So that is a really enthusing factor for us. So today we have 2 sessions within these 2 hours. One is use of data analytics reporting under LFAR. That's by Premnath. So the CA Premnath, as most of you know, you must have seen him. He's a very busy person in the month of March. Not that he's not otherwise busy, but the busiest person. Very difficult to get his time also. So today also, in this season also, we had a lot of programs. However, whenever the Professional Development Committee or the head office insists him, he always gives priority. That's the way he is today here. And also the second topic is Giriraj Soni. He is also a renowned speaker. The very efficient personality in the bank branch audit. So he entire length and breadth of the country he must have spoken. So these 2 topics are here. So tomorrow also have another 2 topics tomorrow evening 4 to 6. So I'm sure you'll get benefit out of this particular session. And after 2 hours, you will know how to use technology in the technology era to complete this particular audit. With this, I welcome you once again. And today we have, as I told you, CA Gyanchand Mishra. He is from Central Region. He is from Ghaziabad. And he is the person, insolvency person. So now he is the chairman of the insolvency board also of the ICI. And last year, he is the person who has handled the entire CPE, where he has brought a lot of reforms in CPE. And, the initiation, what they have done last year, we are going to yield a lot of result. All of you in the CPE calendar this year, you are going to see many changes that is going to come, which are going to be user-friendly and also meaningful. That's what is done. The credit certainly goes to Gyanchand Mishra, who has done a lot of service in that one. So now he is the program coordinator and program director today, and over to him for the rest of the program today. Thank you very much.
So thank you, respected chairman of the PDC committee, CA Prasanna Kumar sir. And I'm really delighted to be a part of this program today. So friends, we all know that bank audit is around the corner and all the professionals are preparing themselves to deliver their best in terms of audit and in terms of reporting both. So reporting is important aspect along with the audit, because what we saw, that is being seen in the public. So it is time that we have to give the best report, and for that 2 eminent faculty are with us on very important topics. That is the first one, use of data analytics for reporting under LFAR, being to be deliberated by CA Premnath DG. And of course, the second session would be taken over by CA Giriraj Soni ji, that is on special consideration in bank audit in view of CBS environment and major financial commands. So friends, for the first session, we have very learned faculty. I am introducing the faculty, CA Premnath Degla ji. Friends, Premnath sir need not any introduction, because he is so familiar to our fraternity that so many deliberations he have done so far for the profession at large. So very quickly, he is a fellow chartered accountant, fellow member of the institute and DISA qualified. He has completed FAFD concurrent audit certificate course, indirect tax certificate course, and his Bachelor of Commerce from Sri Venkateswara University, Tirupati, Andhra Pradesh in 1987. Presently, he is partner of Mr. C. Ramachandran and Company Chartered Accountants, Hyderabad. So he has done a lot of professional work like internal and external audit and forensic audits. He has been a central auditor also. He has good exposure in SAP implementation, GST implementation, study, review, and audit of internal financial control system of PSUs, listed company, etc. His contributions towards ICI has been immense. He has been member of peer review board, member of FRRB, submitted proposal on FRRB automation, submitted proposal for audit documentation tool, guidance note, and bank audit, and so many credentials. If I see, the page is full of his credentials and contributions for the very respected institute, and I'm sure that his deliberation will certainly enrich to each member to really understand the automation and how they are really going to use the automation in bank audit. The other speaker, CA Giriraj Soni ji, is again a very intellect personality. He's fellow member of the institute, Disha, Sisha, working with Sharda and Deepak LLP, and he has about 22 years of professional proven track record. He has information system audit of cooperative bank, stock brokers, others. He has done statutory audit, concurrent audit. Need not say that these are very core practice area for all the chartered accountants. He has done all. He is having management consulting and control review, gap analysis, and SOPs for various organizations. He has IFC documentation and testing, including review of IT related operations, and he has done a lot of treasury, internal and concurrent audit, index, forex operations, etc. So friends, by these words, I am presenting both the learned faculties before you, and I'm sure there's these 3 days program, which is being hosted and organized by PDC, is certainly going to benefit all the members at large. And trust me, the way our respected chairman of the PDC is working day and night for the profession, I am sure that more professional opportunities will come onto the way in very soon. So thank you, Prasanna sir, for giving this opportunity. And over to the first speaker of today's program, CA Prem Nadegala ji, for his deliberation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your kind words of introduction. Respected senior members of the profession, respected Prasanna sir and Mishra sir, and my dear colleagues. It's a great pleasure to be associated with this session today, and my co-speaker, Sri Giriraj sir. And again, I thank from my bottom of the heart for giving me this excellent opportunity. Yes, the time given is almost less than 50 minutes of time, and I need to take it to a practical approach. So as a part of practical approach, I'll be using multiple files at a time, jumping from one file to the another. So viewing on a mobile phone is not comfortable. If you view from a larger screen, then you will appreciate this session, because every corner of the screen, what I'm going to present, has some or other important message built in this. Let me just start sharing my screen. Yeah, let me just start with a slogan, Dharmo Rakshati Rakshitaha, meaning comply with the ICI Code of Conduct. The ICI Code of Conduct is the Dharma for us. The code will protect the professional and profession. The essence of ICI Code is comply with 3 important standards. That is ethical standards, technical standards, and professional standards. So if we comply with these standards, code will protect. Code, I mean the Dharma. So having said this, let's move into our program today. So my objective of this session, as you all know that this word is now used more number of times by the regulator, none other than the NEFRA, in all its reports on firms. That is, it states this word is picked up from our auditing from our audit report, SA 700, second paragraph. We say we say that we have conducted our audit in accordance with standards on auditing issued by ICAI. This is where we have this second paragraph. Second paragraph of audit report SA 200. We say here we have conducted our audit in accordance with standards on auditing. Yes. Having said this, practically, is it possible for me to use Excel? Practically, is it possible for me to use Excel to demonstrate that I have complied with auditing standards? Yes, it is possible to demonstrate that with one single Excel file, we can demonstrate to the regulators that my statement here is true and fair. That statement that I have conducted my audit in accordance with standards on auditing, I can demonstrate to the authorities that I have complied with all these things. That is, how will Excel help me to substantiate compliances with standards is in audit strategy, in audit planning, in audit procedures, and in audit documentation. This is, in short, this is none other than compliance to the standards. Okay, how will Excel be using it? Meaning, I said on one side of the coin, I'm using Excel to substantiate my audit compliance, my audit procedures. On the other side of the coin, I'm using Excel as a data analytics on the data extracted from the CBS files. So, what is that great technology we will be using to make analysis, to express our opinion? Those in not only limited to the bank audit, anywhere, more specifically to this bank audit, I will be using sort, filter, if condition, VLOOKUP, and pivot table. And the sixth one is financial modeling, formulas like PMT, NPER, rate, and all these. So I'll be on one side of the coin, I'll be using Excel on the extracted files to validate the compliance to NPA, documentation deficiencies, and non-compliances, if any. Meaning, from the extracted files, I'll be carrying out these functions, these 6 functions, very precisely these 6 functions on all the files that I'm going to extract. And I'll be observing the deviations while I carry out these analysis with sort, filter, if condition, VLOOKUP, and pivot, and financial modeling. By making this analysis, I will be observing some deviations, and I'll inquire these deviations for, is it resulting in NPA or documentation deficiencies or non-compliance or controls deficiencies in CBS. Having observed these deficiencies, if they are significant, then I'll take it to SA 700 or LFAR or ICOFAR or Ghosh and Jilani or other returns. So this is what is today's session. So let's go into deep. So before we go into it, this is what the banking industry is all about. The banking industry, that what we are today auditing is, we are auditing none other than the total GDP of this country. We, the 1 lakh chartered accountants who are involved in bank audit, are expressing an opinion on 273 lakh crores, meaning out of this 19 lakh crores is money supply and bank credit of 209 lakh crores. We, the chartered accountants of 1 lakh, in the next 1 month of time or 1 or 2 months of time, we, the chartered accountants, are going to express an opinion on this figure. And these figures have resulted in 27.68 lakh crores of NPA, wherein on the floor of the Parliament, Finance Minister has said 19.33 lakh crores have been written off. and there is a banking fraud of 4.96 lakh crore. Understand this implication, because we are not auditing a small client. We, the chartered accountants, are not auditing a small client. This is what we need to emphasize to the regulator, that we are carrying out a most important activity, bank audit, which creates trust, and the kind of LFAR comments and the kind of IFC comments should reflect the true nature of the transactions, of these transactions, what's going on in the banking, which we will see now. Okay, there are banking frauds. This is the highest risk. This is the biggest risk. This 4.96 lakh crores is in the last 5 years. And this is the bifurcation of private and public sector, not that much relevant as of now. But most relevant for us is, out of the 4.96 lakh crores in 5 years of time, 93% of the frauds are in advances, meaning our biggest significant area for concentration is advances. And the other one is off the balance sheet item like LCBGs and all is contributing to 5%. So significant areas for the chartered accountant are these two areas. Let's move on. So with this, we are moving into what we need to do. Okay, before I go into, anyhow, Giriraj Soni sir will be taking you in depth into it. But most important reference material today for all the chartered accountants who are into bank audit is that ICAI e-journal for March 2023. Please download it right now, immediately. And from page 83 to 89 has CBS LFAR point-wise menu commands for all the three softwares. Let me just take you quickly. Anyhow, Giriraj Soni sir will be taking you into those areas. I'll not spend much time on this. Okay. Yeah. This is the document which is now available on ICAI e-journal, March 2023. It's talking about three prominent softwares, which 100% of the bank operations go on in these three. And this is what I'm saying, the reports, the menu reports. For Finacle 10 menu reports, it is given balance sheet asset-wise or LFAR-wise. It is giving what reports needs to be taken. And this is not more than 4 or 5 pages. Now, this is about SBI group of companies, banking, and Allahabad Bank and Central Bank is on BINCS banks. So these banks has these reports. And the Canara Bank and Syndicate Bank FlexiCube reports, how to generate those reports are given here. So this is what this document is all about. Anyhow, sir will be taking you into those areas. My area of operations is using these menu commands. We need to extract those reports, and then we have to go for data analytics reporting in LFR or IFC. Okay. So most of us has the biggest challenge is that, sir, bankers are not providing the reports. Then how do we get these reports? So the most simplest form is just ask for MIS reports that they submit to RBI, regional office or head office, to any other like CIBIL or CRILIC or whatever it is. Whatever, to whomsoever they are submitting any MIS reports, ask them to get the report. This is the first step, number one. Number two, ask for how the above MIS report is compiled or taken from the CBS. These are the two things that you need to ask. Then they themselves will come forward and tell these reports were extracted or prepared or cut, copy, pasted or generated from the CBS. Now, and then if it is from CBS, ask them how they have generated that reports, what menu command they have used in the CBS. If you can ask, then you will definitely see all those CBS reports which are published in ICI March 2023 journal. Now, take these files, convert such files from text to Excel. I'm not going into that conversion from text to Excel because there are many YouTube video channels nowadays available wherein you can easily convert a text file to Excel. Not only that, many latest CBS reports are providing in Excel. In case they are not providing in Excel, if text files is provided, then you can easily convert the text files to Excel. That's not a big issue. More than that, Power Pivot and Power Query and Power Pivot, which is from 2016 onwards, Excel 2016 onwards. If you want to convert bulk files into Excel, you put all the bulk files into one folder and then open from the Excel. All the files will immediately get converted into one simple Excel sheet. So all these procedures are very well explained in YouTube channels. You can verify for a very specific channel. If you want, you can look at few minutes of audit. Few minutes of audit is one such channel where every 2-3 minutes short videos are provided. You can go through that. It's a non-commercial channel. Okay. Next one is, having extracted these files, what should I do? You have to use that sort, filter, if condition, VLOOKUP and pivot, and those I've just stated that financial modeling. Next. From CBS reports, identify those content useful for NPA, SMA 0123, 12, loan performance indicators like stock statement, last stock statement submitted, columns and all, last interest, last principal paid, etc. You can identify these things in these reports, and on those you need to make an analysis. Okay, having said this, without boring you much on reading on the screen, let me take you to the one Excel file where we can merge SMA related files and loan related files and analyze those content in a simple form. Let me just take you to that Excel form. So this is the Excel form. This is what I was telling you. Those who are on mobile phones, they will not appreciate this session. So if you are on a larger screen, this makes much difference. Okay. Now this is the file, loan balancing file. So this is the loan balancing file having these content, sanction date, EMI paid, so on and so on. You have all these. Then this is a loan balance file. And remember, I have stated here, whatever you take, whatever files you collect, whatever files you want to take, extract 12 months files and combine 12 months file after tagging each month. That is what I have done here. I've taken all the 12 months files. You can see here, December, January, and so on and so on. So I've taken from here, the file is, and this is month wise, I have taken it. Right. So after taking month wise, combine all 12 months by tagging each row. Each row, if you observe, this is from where the content will start from this place. The content will start from this place, and I am adding a content to each row stating that this belongs to March month, April month and all. Why I have done this is, why I have tagged this is to observe. Let me just explain it. Data, sort. Having combined, now this is on month wise sorted. I can sort it on customer wise. Having sorted on customer wise, now you can observe. Now you can observe whether the outstanding balance is decreasing or increasing. You can observe here from 360 decreased, whereas from here it has increased. And again here it started decreasing, meaning it's more or less a properly performing standard asset. As you observe this diminishing or increasing, if this is increasing trend, then observe on this part here. You can see here this trend is decreasing. When the trend is decreasing, the EMI paid and EMI due, EMI paid column here is standard. This is increasing. When the loan is performed properly, why is this increasing is what one professional skepticism we need to ask, meaning that there are some issues in generating these reports, meaning these columns may become irrelevant, or these column content, we cannot rely on these column contents, because when the loan outstanding is increasing, the EMI due should go on increasing, unpaid EMI should go on increasing, whereas here this column of EMI due is always stating 0, 0, 0 and 0. Even though there is an increase in term here, when it has increased, there should be an EMI due, but this is not showing that, meaning the purpose why I have asked you to combine 12 months is to make an analysis, on customer wise. So this is the purpose of doing it. Okay. Now, having taken that, if you come back to this, I said here, from CBS reports, identify those content useful for NPA, SMA and SMA 012 and so on and so on. Now you have already SMA, probable SMA, standard, substandard, doubtful, loss assets. These are all certain files that are provided to us. So what am I doing now? Since I have in all these things account number being common, in this loan balancing file, I am trying to use VLOOKUP. To get this data here. You can observe here, or you can see here, this particular customer is in the standard asset. Okay. Now, can we see doubtful assets or something? Let's just see. So let me just, having taken this, I'll just say probable NPA. Blanks, I'm closing it. Now you can see here, the same party is coming in probable and in standard. Let me also see and remove this blank. substandard. You can see this is coming in probable and substandard. Problem for us is whatever is there in substandard, it should not come here. So I'll just make this again. Now, now I'm trying to analyze, filter it on probable NPA and on the standard and see the party names here. Now I'll just, for your comfort, let me hide certain, okay. Now you can see here, these belongs to, yeah. Now you can observe here, this belongs to this particular party. Now we have to observe whether this is, now you can see here, this is outstanding is not, it is standard. Somewhere the outstanding is standard and not moving as fast as. And here you can see the theoretical balance. If the system is going on perfectly, they should go on reducing it. Then observe here the contents given here, EMI due and EMI, EMI due, EMI paid and EMI overdue. This you relate with probable NPA and standard assets. Now this will make you to understand this kind of simple analysis. What is that simple analysis we are saying? We are trying to extract multiple files. We are trying to extract multiple files, and from the multiple files, wherever you have a common field, wherever you have a common field, with that common field, we are trying to merge those two files as we have done here. We have merged those two files here and trying to observe party-wise performance, borrower-wise performance, we are trying to observe. This is one way of analytics to understand and comment on LFAR and IFC. Okay, let me take one more file also for easy understanding. Yeah, let me take one more file. Yeah. This is another term loan, same term loan file. This is same term loan file, wherein I have taken the 12 months files. Again, I come back, I'll explain here. Whatever file you are taking, extract files for 12 months, combine 12 months files after tracking each month file, and sort, filter, pivot on important columns. Okay, let me come back here now again. So what I'm trying to do here is, after combining all the 12 months files, you can see here, 14,000 rows are there for all the 12 months customer wise. Now, a very simple pivot, very simple pivot way of doing it. I'll just use customer borrower wise and month wise data here. Now let me just take, now I'm trying to take out and then show you whether the interest rates are uniform across and whether the interest rates have changed on the same time where it has changed for others. Like you can see, for all these borrowers, for all these 1,300 borrowers, month-wise interest rate is same here, whereas in September month it has changed. For here it is 0.1%, 1% change here, but whereas in some places there is huge change, and in some places the interest rate is not captured at all here. The interest rate in some places it is not captured, meaning the report that made available to us, can we rely on the report or not for analysis is what we need to first judge. The quality of MIS reports made to us, we have to make some validations on it to decide whether to rely on this content or not. So for that purpose, we are making this data analytics and trying to go back and see where this error is happening in CBS. I'll come back to that a little later. This is one way of finding out whether for the same product, the rate of interest is uniform. So much of analysis can be made borrower-wise, month-wise, interest rate-wise in pivot table. Okay, let me just take you again. I'll just take out the interest rate and then show you the EMIs. Let me just take EMI overdue. I'm just taking the EMI overdue here. Customer wise EMI overdue position, we are just trying to see it and see whether is there a party. Like say here, in this, we can see here, it is every month, it is overdue by 2 and 1 and 2 and 1. So if I can filter on this, if I can filter or if I can see sort on largest to short, smallest, I've sorted this report largest. Now these are the high risk accounts where it is continuously showing. These are all high risk accounts. In no time, we have identified the high risk accounts from just by carrying out the simple procedure. What is that simple procedure? Extract the files for 12 months, combine 12 months after tagging, and sort, filter, pivot, and so on and so on. And we are validating EMI, etc. So now you can see here, I have used this very simple, and then we have identified, yes, these are all my samples, and this I will start inquiring whether this has been, now this file I will compare with the NPAs and see whether these have been made NPAs or not, because it's consistently showing higher amounts of NPAs due. Then another form of analysis. In this way, there are so many columns given here in this report. So this report wise, you can go on making analysis in this table and pick up the appropriate samples and validate validate those content. And another very important validation that you can make is like you have here the date when the loan is given. Yeah. Date when the loan is given here. So from the date of sanction date, from the sanction date till the date of loan, from sanction date till the date of audit, this 31/3/2020 I have taken. From the sanction date to the date of loan, how many months it has lapsed? This is called dated if. So in that way, I'll just explain one case vertically and then we'll do it horizontally for all the 1400 cases. From sanction date to the date of audit, from sanction date to the date of audit, it is 114 months. However, by using NPER, financial modeling formula, where you have in formulas financial modeling NPER, returns the number of periods for the investment based on periodic constant payments and constant interest rate. This is already given in our file here. This is already given here. In this file, you will find the rate of interest, EMI, and period. Once this is given, then you can easily find out for how many months this term is. So as on the date of audit, it is saying 114 months. But whereas the term itself is 80 months, meaning the as on the date of audit, it is 114 months, but the term is 81. And there is a difference of almost 25 months of difference. Almost, approximately, or almost this much is the difference. Meaning, what is this difference? we have to validate this and find out why this, whether this deviation is abnormal. Yes, this deviation is abnormal. If 1-2 months deviation, yes, you can understand. But you need to now understand this. You need to go into validation, documentation, etc. Now, this is one area. This is one financial modeling formula. The another one is from the starting point of the loan to the date of audit, how much of interest should have been collected by this time is called CUMIPMT, cumulative interest payment from the date of loan to the date of audit. How much is collected? How much should have been collected? This I will call it as audit interest collection. Now, I can get the same thing from the Finacle. I can get the same thing from Finacle, that is CBS interest collection. And CBS interest collection and audit interest collection, if the difference is significant, if the difference between the audit interest collection and the CBS interest collection is significant, then we need to validate each such case for NPA. Similarly, I can also calculate how much principal should have been paid by this time using CUMPRINC, cumulative principal payment right from the day of the loan to the day of audit. So now I can calculate theoretical balance from the amount of loan minus the amount of loan. You can see here the amount of loan minus this theoretical collection is called as theoretical balance. Now, what is the theoretical balance now as on the date of audit, or closing balance as on the date of audit? The difference between these two is greater than 3, it is NPA. It is as simple as this. Now, I have done this for vertically for one case. Let me do this for all the cases here. Let me do this for all the cases here. The same formulas have been used for all the 1400 borrowers. We are trying to do it and find out difference. I said difference of CBS outstanding and audit outstanding. If this is greater than 3, then it is probable NPA. Now, what is the system saying here? It is saying only 1. Now, what could be the reason? The reason could be there are evergreening, continuous evergreening in the form of restructuring to ensure that this account doesn't become NPA. Now, we as an auditor needs to question whether the manager has such a discretion, and if that rescheduling and refacement is done, whether the RBI circular with respect to provisioning on restructured and refacement has to be inquired and commented on LFR, internal financial controls, or if needed, MOC needs to be given. Now, the point what I have demonstrated here within this very limited amount of time is, you have seen now, the moment we have extracted 13 or 12 files or 13 files, all the term loans have been validated in no time for the quality. Without even entering into each and every loan account, I am not entering into ACLI, open every client, every borrower and see what is happening. No, without doing all those things, I have validated, let this be 12,000 rows, let it be 1 lakh rows. The time taken to validate is just less than 2 to 10 minutes. It all subject to getting the report. How to get the report? I have already given you how to get the report. Sony sir will be talking about. Not only that, I have already stated here, given the reference here as to how to extract and how to get those data is given here. Once you have got this data, now you can make a proper analysis. Now you can make a proper analysis with very simple. Now, whatever commands or whatever formulas or whatever procedures I have used. Why I have said this is, I have stated here in my first slide: audit strategy, audit planning, audit procedure, and audit documentation. Now you have seen now, auditing standards talk about what is the audit strategy, planning, and procedure and documentation. Now you have seen in this one simple Excel, like in this one simple Excel, you are able to carry out all these procedures. Okay, you may ask me, where is the term loan processing data? Let me just take you to that sheet in the same Excel file. And I've documented it. I'll be sharing this file. You may take it from the ICAI. Now, this is what you have seen here. I have financial functions consisting of 5 important files. Formulas, and these formulas have been used on this content here, and these formulas have been used in this content, and this is the procedure. Remember, this is the procedure. You can see here I have written the procedure also. Obtain term loan, tag, blah blah, all these things I have written here. And this is what exactly I'm saying. The objective of today's session is to use one simple Excel file to substantiate compliances to the standards. And we have seen how we have planned it, procedures and documentation. Yeah. Now, I think I'm left with just 3-4 minutes of time, because from 5 to 7, I have a session lined up virtually for Gurgaon branch. So you may have to permit me to leave 2-3 minutes in advance. Okay. Till such time, what best I can do, let me do it. After this, again, if you are interested, you can join back to that Gurgaon branch or whatever. Or these discussions are already there on the YouTube platform. Or else I will request Central Council member Prasanna sir to have one more session on 6 hours of session live on 1st of whatever date, probably possible, wherein we can take you through each and every file. We can go on explaining so that you can comfortably practice. They are kind enough, they can create one more session. Okay, coming back again, I'm just demonstrating one Excel file, how this can be used for planning procedure. Yes, I've said for reporting under LFAR and IFC. So let me just take you to reporting under LFAR. So coming back here, I'll just quickly take you through this one simple Excel file. I have put up the RBI circulars on one Excel file, wherein this is still under preparation, where we are going to link it to relevant LFAR and ICOFAR, and then relevant LFARs also you can link it. Then circulars we can link. Then with the data analytics, you can find out with just sort how many customers have multiple customer IDs. You can see here same name and multiple customer IDs. And how do you find that? Is compare that with the master compare that with the master and try to see whether the mobile of all these persons, date of birth and signatory and the address and PAN or Aadhaar number or address, whether all these things are common to this person. Then you decide that this person is same but having multiple customer IDs. This also you can do it. Okay, this is one issue. So I was just explaining about this file. Now I see here index. Now this file has, as I've stated in my presentation, this Excel file is talking about planning, procedure, and documentation. I'm saying here this control sheet, which is hyperlinked. This control sheet is hyperlinked to this. Now working paper control sheet, which is for documentation. A quick checklist that you need to have. These are all the contents you need to maintain. And what is it? A no objection letter, audit engagement letter, representation letter, branch audit report, blah, blah, blah. All these things you need to have it. All these things are the controls. Again, I'll go back to the index here. Who are the team that are working? Who are the team that they are working with you? These are the team that are working with me. And what work is allocated to the team? And you can allocate the team here. You change the name here. You can change the name here, and then I think you all know about this. You can allocate this and reviewed by, this is SQC kind of a thing. So then this is about branch, and then trial balance analysis, then significant, then audit. This is audit control sheet. With this, I hope I'm exceeding the time. This is as a part of audit engagement letter. I am asking the banker to provide this 96 pieces of information. This 96 pieces of information, I am asking the branch banker to provide this information. And whatever information I am asking, I am writing here why I am asking this information. Reference, because to report under 7A, I am asking this information. And further, which team is going to do this job? You have already given the names. Now, whether you have obtained this from the bank, what observations you made, then what reply the banker has given. Now, for reply, we have made a simple audit note format with most common observations. You can take the reply from the management on this, and you can give this audit note on a periodical, like every half day observations. You can go on communicating and updating this. Since this is one Excel file which is built up with all these things, you can put this Excel file either on OneDrive or on the Google Drive, so that it is easy for multiple people to access. This is one issue. Okay. Come back to the audit control sheet. Now, whatever information whatever observations you have made here, I have given here some significant notes to which it belongs to. You can tag it. Now, if this significant item has to be reported under LFR, to which part of LFR you have to report is given here. In the same way, what is the annexure that you have collected? Physical or soft copy? If it is soft copy, you give a hyperlink. You give a hyperlink to a document. You can give a hyperlink to a document. You can give a hyperlink to the document. You can give a hyperlink to the document or a photo or something, so that it is easy for you to maintain all documentation in one place. Whether the item that you have identified here as significant, whether this has to be reported in LFR, MOC, or Ghosh and Jilani committee, or in any other certificates which has an impact, you can use this. So what I'm trying to say here is, I'll come back to this again. What I'm trying to say here is, with one simple Excel, we can substantiate the statement that we are making in the second paragraph, that I have complied with all the auditing standards. And these are analytics I have done. A lot of analytics still to be done, but the time is not permitting me to go beyond. I'm left with just 1-2 minutes of time. Let me just very quickly carry out one simple, very important function. Now, these are the phone numbers that we have, customer phone numbers we have, and customer name. I'm just trying to find out here. This phone number has 185 accounts. After taking all the account copies here, I've just tried to put one below another and sorted on date wise, and then I have observed an amount of 25 lakhs drawn by 776 account holder has withdrawn this cash of 15 lakhs, and again from where this 25 lakhs has come, from that account another 14.5 has deposited, and you can see here round tripping going on, and which has to be reported in LFAR. So, and similarly, we have a lot of analysis that can be done on stock statements. to calculate the drawing power and type of stock which is pledged, whether it is relevant. You can see in this particular case, 50% of the stock pledged is consumables, which is of no use. Then we have seen here margin analysis, collections, opening debtors, plus sales minus closing debtors is collection, and actual deposits in the CC is far less than the formula what we have used, meaning there is a diversion of cash collections into another accounts. And similarly, you can see here gross margin, cost of goods sold, gross margin is very less here, which is far less than the projected margin. And further, you have debtors in days and stock in days is very much higher than what is given in the sanction letter. So these are all none other than relating it to the early warning signals. So what I'm trying to talk here in this very limited amount of time is that one simple Excel sheet can be used to substantiate our audit strategy, planning, procedure, and documentation. And the same Excel sheet can be used for extract, used for analytics, and that analytics is very limited to sort, filter, if condition, VLOOKUP, and pivot table and financial modeling. This is what, and you have many other things. I've just given it here. But this just 40 minutes of time is not permitting me to go on further. Thank you very much for your patient listening. If there are any questions, I can take up.
So there is one question from a member, CA Lokesh. He is asking how to collect the data from bank servers for analysis.
This is what I've just I've just now shared. Yeah. Anyhow, Sony sir will be talking about it. This is what I have written here. Ask for MIS reports, how they are doing it, and CBS menu commands that are given in March 2023, page 83 to 89, convert that text into it. And those command, the institute published journal, I have shown it to you on the screen. I think, let me just share it. Yeah, institute published material in the latest journal. Like I was talking about SMA reports. This is SMA reports. I'm clubbing this SMA report and NPA report and the loan report into one report and see and validate whether the content given in all these three is one and same or whether it is true and correct. Anything else, madam?
Yeah, sir, there are a lot of questions, but because of the time constraint, maybe we'll ask one more. So they're saying that if branch denies to provide MIS reports sent to RBI, and how we can ensure that MIS reports shared with us, which they send to RBI, how we can ensure that the same is shared.
Like, yes, that is what I was saying. I was telling you here. My audit engagement letter, which is there in the Excel file I have just now shared, 96 pieces of information. The moment they send me an appointment letter, I should communicate to them immediately an audit engagement letter saying that you need to provide me these information. Based on this only, I am going to carry out my audit. Otherwise, you are limiting my scope. I have to make it very clear in communication that if you are not sharing, you are limiting my scope. You can mark a copy to the RBI saying that the bank is limiting my scope. Yes, they may not share it on your laptop, but for the past 20 years, I can demonstrate I have all these files. Number one. Two, if at all banks are very adamant, then tell them to provide a system where Excel is available. You can make your all the preparations there. I think this is clear to the members.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Fine, sir. So thank you so much. On behalf of the Professional Development Committee, we would like to express a deep gratitude, sir, for sparing your time and very clearly, sir, explaining us the practical aspect And it was a very fruitful session, and our participants have also really liked it. We can see on the answer on the from the admin module, and they have participated and very thoroughly understood your session. And we've also noted your suggestion that we should have an in-depth, like a 6-hour session on this topic. We've noted it down. And thank you so much, sir, for sparing your valuable time.
I could not go into, see, I could have, if time is permitted, I would have gone into CBS screens where the control weakness is there, like cash withdrawals is permitted, where you need to plug that loophole. What suggestions we need to give in IFC or LFAR so that the banking will change. Not only that, we have just now seen the RBI circulars and notifications, or we are trying to make it LFAR comment wise, so that when the total 1 lakh chartered accountants who are participating, if they can make their comment referring to the RBI circular, then it makes much larger sense. We see the GST and income tax officials, when they comment on the assessment, they refer definitely to the IT and GST sections. But we, the chartered accountants, when we are making a comment in LFR or IFC, we are not bringing that RBI circulars. Once we bring it, then that will make much impact on the banking, and they'll really feel that, yes, the bank audit allotment should not come down below 80%. That is there in our chartered accountants' hand. Thank you, madam. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir.
I'm logging out, madam.
So now, now we start with our second technical session for today. Special considerations in bank audit in view of CBS environment and major financial commands. So we have with us the Giriraj Soni, sir. And so we request you to please start your session. And thank you so much, sir, for sparing your time, sir. Yeah.
Good evening. Thank you, committee. Thank you all the member of ICI for providing me opportunity for sharing some knowledge related to CBS. I'm sharing my PPT.
Yes.
Is it visible to everyone?
Yes, sir, it's visible, sir.
Okay. So these are just disclaimer. These are my personal views that should not be construed the view of ICI or my firm. No representation or warranties are made by WRC or ICI with regard to this presentation. These do not and shall not be considered as a professional advice, and this representation should not be reproduced or in any whole in a matter without our written permission. Just a disclaimer.
Yes.
Now, session objective, what we want to understand, what is the objective of this particular session. So we just want to understand what is the CBS, broadly the CBS architecture is, what are the different types of CBS which are in place, pre-audit requirement and planning phase, what we need to understand when we are planning audit in CBS environment. Some of the banking concepts which I would like to touch upon, because most of the time we are familiar with some of the general audit terms. But when it comes to bank audit, then obviously we need to be aware about certain banking concept when we are doing audit in CBS environment. Then what are the special considerations? Because most of the time I have seen that in many cases, even though CBS is there, but there are challenges when we are doing the audit. So even though CBS is there, but we need to take a certain aspect which either are not taken care by the CBS or there are practical issues. So I'll be touching upon those practical issues. And obviously some of the important audit command, as in the previous session, speaker had pointed out, and ICI has also released so many publications regarding whatever the commands, what are the reports which are available in CBS. So broadly, I am not going to discuss in detail, but some of the command which I found, which I am using frequently, I would discuss with the members in general. And obviously, if the time permits, then we will discuss upon some of 2-3 case studies. Otherwise, we will take up questions. Now, if you see the evolution of the CBS, earlier it was manual banking, now that has been shifted to branch computerization, subsequently that has been shifted to CBS. So we are presently now in the era of CBS. I have seen CBS evolving for last 10 to 12 years. So now I added one more line. If it is the CBS, it is now not only CBS, it is now integrated CBS, where not only the banking application, but apart from the banking application, there are so many other applications which are interacting with the CBS. how they are interacting and what are those applications, we'll just see in the subsequent slides, some of the slides. Now, broadly, I will touch upon the features of the CBS. All the members may be aware, but just for your sake of understanding, we need to know that in case of CBS, there are certain unique features. So one of the feature is unique customer ID across the bank. So wherever any customer is opening any account, so the unique ID has been given to one of the customers. Subsequently, if that customer having any loan account or any saving account or any other type of facility, so all those accounts will be tagged to one ID, that is cust ID. So every customer has unique cust ID and has a unique relation with the bank. All functions of the bank, for example, loan, deposits, locker, trade finance, all the things are now combined in the CBS. Customization. Every bank nowadays are doing customization as per their own requirement of the internal circulars. So every bank has got their internal control framework, and based on that, they can customize CBS as per their choice. Multi-locational access. We can access CBS from any location, sitting in Mumbai, sitting in Delhi, wherever you are there in any part of the world, you can access to your accounts through various modes, through various channels. Last but not the least is centralized database. The database, the transactions which are taking place in the CBS, they are at centralized locations. So you should be very much clear in your mind when you're doing the audit that whatever transactions we are auditing that are not residing in the bank branch. The transactions are residing or transactions are stored at centralized location. That is my centralized database. Now, these are the three major CBS applications which we generally know. These are the name of companies: Infosys, Oracle, and then TCS. These are the product name Pinnacle 7, which is updated to Pinnacle 10. And these are the various banks. These are not the only bank. There might be certain other bank, but just for the sake of understanding, I have highlighted that these are the some of the banks. So, what the first thing you should know whenever you got opportunity to the you got appointment letters, then you should check which of the bank is you have been appointed and which is the CBS application they are using. So you should have a familiarization with the type of CBS to start with. These are some of the pre-audit requirement. What I mean by pre-audit requirement is that once you receive the appointment letter and before you start the actual audit, before you actually visit the branch, so what are the things which you can do, which you can plan, which you can do with sitting at your office. So just identify the audit area as per the audit plan. So now in case of statutory audit, or audit plan is mostly directed by LFR, which is given by RBI. So they have given detailed audit checklist, what are the points which you need to cover during your audit. Now, after identification of audit areas, you need to identify what is the mode of verification, whether entire information can be verified through CBS, or I need to check document, or I to check physically, or I need to apply hybrid mode. What I mean by hybrid mode is some information you can check in CBS, but some information you need to confirm physically. For example, cash verification. So cash verification, you can take reports from the system and then physically verify the cash. So likewise, there might be certain point where you need to have hybrid mode approach. Then you just check what are the reports, available report or MIS. In the previous session, we have discussed about MIS. So every bank is nowadays giving certain information to their controlling office. If you see the overall architecture of the bank, controlling architecture of the bank, there is a central office. Below that central office, there is zonal office. Below zonal office, there will be regional office. Is generally passed on from branches to regional office, and from regional office go to zonal office, and then it is how the information is collected at centralized level. So you need to check whether all the reports, which are the MIS, which is readily available with the branch. Now, as far the reports are concerned, you need to have field level of understanding for analysis of the data. In the previous session, we have seen that there are a lot of Excel data which is presented by the speaker. But when you go to the actual scenario, you may find that there are certain reports, but you don't know what is the meaning of the report, even though the heading of the report is given, but you will not understand what that particular field means. Each and every bank has got their unique customization of the report. Say, for example, NPA code. Now, when you generate the NPA report, what are the different type of NPA? If we see the different type of NPA, first is substandard, then is doubtful 1, doubtful 2, doubtful 3, and the last one is the loss. So these are the various categories of NPA. But when we are analyzing the report, you will come to know, okay, वहाँ तो NPA लिखा ही नहीं है. There is no such word written as NPA, or there is no such word written as DB1. So category is not mentioned. So category is denoted by code. So code 1 is standard, code 2 is substandard, code 3 is for DB1. So likewise, there will be different type of code which is given for NPA. So I have given a very simple example of NPA report. Likewise, there are so many reports, there are so many fields which have been customized as per the requirement of the bank. So those code, the understanding of the fields are important. And last but not the least is, wherever you are analyzing any report, you need to ensure the accuracy of the report. Because we have found that in most of the cases, since CB has evolved over a period of time, say for example, last 10 years. So initially bank has designed certain reports, but slowly and gradually when they have upgraded their CBS or where they have updated their requirement, they have discontinued with the report. They are not using the report, but still that report will be available in CBS. So we need to check whether other reports which are generated, whether that report is accurate or not. So these are some of the things which I thought that you should know when you are doing audit in CBS. Then there are certain banking concepts. As I told you that when I am discussing with my professional colleagues, then I found that most of the time we have understanding of audit. We have understanding of various features, but we don't have understanding of the banking concept. Because when you're doing audit, especially the bank audit, then you need to have clear understanding of certain banking concept. So some of the concepts which I have highlighted, these are not the only concept. There might be certain other concepts, but some of the important concepts which I found that this minimum knowledge of this concept has to be there when we are in our mind when we are doing the audit. So example, first is vouchers. So first and foremost important thing is about voucher. Whenever we are doing audit, when I was doing my articles, the first thing taught to us is that check vouchers. But most of the time, I found that in present era, everything is taken care by CBS. So people have forgot about the vouchers. But vouchers are still there in CBS environment. So those things you need to check. What are the vouchers? And in the vouchers, the beauty in the bank is that there are typical type of voucher where you will have single debit and multiple credit, or where you will have single credit or multiple debit. So likewise, there may be many transactions. One of the example of such transaction is interest application. Say example, interest is applied on advances. So what will be your accounting entry? So interest is my income. So obviously interest account will be credited. And what account will be debited? You will say advances. But advance is not one account. There may be different advances, term loan, CC, OD. So likewise, there may be different type of advances. So which advances to be debited? And which account to be debited? Within term loan, there may be, say example, 100 term loan. So obviously the entry in the CBS will be, there will be multiple debits, but single credit. Similarly, NEFT settlement, RTGS settlement, likewise, there will be various accounting entries. So you need to understand what are the different type of accounting entries for different type of transaction in bank audit. The second important part is GL and sub-GL. In the banking era, in the banking accounting, there is a concept of general ledger and subsidiary general ledger. So within one GL, say example, when I'm certifying the financial statement, generally we are certifying that what are the saving accounts. So saving account, there will be one GL, but within that saving account, there might be 15 or 16 or maybe 20, whatever different type of sub GLs. And within that sub GL, there will be different type of customers account. So this is how the concept of GL and sub GL is applicable, especially in case of bank audit. Next is about sundry and suspense. So most of the people who are doing audit, whenever we are doing the audit, the first thing we was taught to us that you should look what are the entries which are pending in suspense. But in case of bank audit, basically there will be a lot of entries which are pending in sundry and suspense. And within that sundry and suspense, these are also known as office account. Within that sundry and suspense, there might be various types of general ledger. Okay, I again repeat that within that sundry, within that suspense, there will be various types of general ledgers. So as an auditor, we should have a detailed breakup of what are the entries which are there in sundry and suspense. And then you should understand what are the type of sundry and suspense. Generally, sundry will have credit balance and suspense will generally have debit balances. So those things you should keep in mind that wherever you are doing audit, you just check what are the entries which are in suspense. If you find there is any credit entry which is pending in suspense, then you should check what is the reason, why the entry or why the closing balance is there in credit. So a lot of frauds have taken particularly in those office accounts, sundry and suspense. So be clear about what are the entries, what are the transactions which are posted in sundry and suspense. You can also refer to the internal circular of the bank. Most of the bank have given internal circular to have a strict control, because there was a guideline from RBI also that the bank should not use too many control accounts. So if they are using such type of office account, obviously there has to be an internal control framework. For example, any new suspense jail creation will require approval from central office. So branch itself will not be able to create any new suspense. And if any suspense account or any suspense jail is created, it has to be properly monitored. One more interesting thing related to sundry and suspense is that whenever you in a suspense account or sundry account, there are different type of sundry and suspense. So whenever you're doing audit, you need to understand what are the types of sundry and suspense. For example, in some of the sundry account, the balance should be nil at the end of the day. So these are controlling accounts. So at the end of the day, balance is to be nil. In some of the sundry or suspense account, end of the balance has to be either in debit or either balance has to be in credit. So these are the type of thing which you should inquire, which is when you are doing the audit at the first time. So you should inquire what are the types of sundry, what are the types of suspense, and what is the general nature of that sundry and suspense. Balancing report. One of the important thing is when we are doing audit is to understand what is balancing report. So balancing report is available in each and every type of CBS, whether it is Pinnacle, whether it is FlexCube or any other CBS. So balancing report is generally a banking terminology. So if you want to check, for example, bank guarantee. So when we need to report upon what are the outstanding balance in bank guarantee. So you can generate a balancing report from the system, or you can ask the bank team to provide me the breakup of whatever BG which is outstanding as on date of audit. So this is balancing report. So balancing report can be generated in the for various types of general ledger. For example, banking BG, LC, bills discounted, bills purchase, loans. So likewise, balancing report will be available for each and every type of GL. Value dating of transaction. Now, what is value dating of transaction? Normally, in other apart from banking industry, most of the organization they don't close their trial balance on daily basis. But in case of bank, the branches account, there is a concept of BOD and EOD. BOD means beginning of the day. EOD means end of the day. So suppose I have executed a certain transaction, and tomorrow due to some or other reason I have to do a backdating of transaction. Say example in case of loan. So the customer has got a receipt. Customer has deposited one check, but due to error or due to omission of the branch people, the check was not deposited. It was kept in the drawer of the cashier. And after some days, the customer complains, okay, I have not received the fund. Then obviously bank inquire and they have credited to the loan account of the customer. Now the customer will say, I have deposited 5 or 10 days before, but you are crediting me now. So there is a loss of interest. So what the bank will do, the bank will give credit as on date, but with value rating of 10 days back. So in simple term, if you want to understand value rating transaction is backdated transaction. So there can be various regions, various scenarios where the banks are doing backdated transaction. And these are covered by way of exceptional reports. So if you see any exceptional report, obviously it will have one of the transaction as validated transaction. So those exceptional report you can review, you can check during a part of our audit and inquire what is the reason why the validating has been done and whether there is a proper maker checker or proper control for those validating transactions. Then you need to understand scheme and product type. When you are analyzing the report, then you need to understand what are the various schemes, because each and every bank has got different types of schemes. Say example, housing loan. So housing loan which is given by Bank of Baroda may be different than housing loan given by Axis Bank, because each and every bank has got their different types of product, different type of scheme. So you need to have some understanding of the various types of scheme under saving, under term deposit, or under loans. So these are the few important concepts which you should keep in mind when you are doing the audit. Now, is a simple example of balancing report, which I have discussed in the previous slide. So this is a very simple example. Now, if I see on the top hand side, there is a weekly statement of affairs. So that is the balance sheet, liability and asset position of the bank, which statement which you are certifying. Now, if you see on the screen, current deposit from bank. So if I see the current deposit of bank, one line item is there, and total amount is 15,28,930. Now, if you want to check what are the individual item, individual GL for 15,28,930, then I need to generate balancing report. And once I generate balancing report, it will give me the account name, account number, and amount. Okay, so if you can see that these are the various types of current account. Now, obviously, once you got this type of information, the next thing I see, okay, there is a current account. Current account, each and every GL should have credit balance. But in one of the GL, that is Al Ansari Exchange, there is a debit balance. Obviously, the next audit query will be that why there is a debit balance in this particular current account. So obviously, current account should not have debit balance. If that is the thing, then we need to check what is the reason for that debit balances. Next, we have discussed about that there can be various schemes. What are the schemes? What are the codes? So again, this is a very simple illustration where I given that what are the codes, scheme type, scheme code, and scheme description. Okay, as I discussed you in the previous slide, that there can be various types of schemes. So example, if here you can see on the scheme screen that there are various types of current account. And for each and every current account, there is a scheme code. Okay, so current account, commercial bank, current account, cooperative bank. Likewise, there can be various types of schemes. So when you are analyzing the report, when you are looking at the report, then you need to be aware about what are the scheme type, what are the scheme codes. Now, as I discussed in the beginning that now CBS is not only the CBS, but now CBS is an integrated CBS. Now, what is integrated CBS means? There are a lot of other applications which are nowadays interacting or posting the transaction in the CBS. Now, some of the application which I highlighted in this particular slide, say example, treasury. So whatever transaction with the treasury team is making, all that treasury transactions are posted in my CBS. So that is a separate application for treasury function. Similarly, some of the banks have got fixed asset management software, which are a part or not a part of CBS, but is a separate application where the data might be exchanged with the CBS. Similarly, GST, there are some typical GST accounting software which our banks are using. Then there is a SFMS, payment and settlement system. Whatever transactions which are executed through UPI, through ATM, through IMPS, through NEFT, RTGS, all these transactions are settled in some separate application, and that transaction which are there in that application that moves to CBS. Then there is a check truncation system. Then there is a SWIFT system for international payment. You must have heard about that Nirav Modi scam. So there the fraud was happened with the help of the SWIFT, the control weakness which were identified in SWIFT. So SWIFT is again an application for international transaction that also communicates with my CBS. Then there are some ALM and AML related softwares. Then some of the banks are also using loan management system. So whenever any loan disbursement is made, So before disbursement of the loan, bank has to do so many processes. So all that processes are getting executed through separate loan management system. From that loan management system, all the master data flows into my CBS. So these are very simple examples through which I want to highlight that now CBS is not only the CBS, but there are so many other applications. Nowadays, bank is using technology as single sign-on technology, wherein only one user ID password is required to access multiple applications. Okay, these are some of the things which I want to clarify, because when I say it is a myth or it is a not a assumptions. Because most of the time when we go for audit, if we assume certain things, then obviously we are not going to check this thing. So just to have an understanding that I want to highlight that don't assume that computerized systems are foolproof. Second assumption which we carry is audit in CBS require more technical knowledge. So friend, be clear that you don't require much technical knowledge. You only need to go through, you know, to update yourself, attend such type of seminar, webinar, where you could get some of the insight from which are the commands, which are the things which we know about. We should know about CBS. Apart from that, no technical knowledge is required. Then controls are centralized and managed by IT team and central office, so need not be tested. So friend, be clear that even though controls are centralized, but still as an auditor, you need to test, you need to check what are the controls, because controls are ever changing. Nowadays, CBS is also constantly changing due to some or other guidelines, due to some internal guidelines, or due to some external RBI or regulators guideline. So if there is change in CBS, obviously there is change in technology, and it will have an impact on controls. Staff operators have full knowledge of operation. Don't assume no one has got full knowledge of the operation. They have got very limited knowledge of the operations which they are carrying out. Last but not the least is NPR system generated. So friends, be clear, whenever you are doing audit, nowadays there is a mandate by RBI that NPA has to be system generated. So please check it whether the NPA is system generated or the list which they are providing, whether it is the list from some other source, and then you are checking it. So be clear about that particular aspect. Now, recently there was a guideline by RBI for NPA automation. So banks should establish proper control, internal control, including putting necessary infrastructure to comply with the requirement of this particular circular. Now, what this circular says is automation of income recognition, asset classification, and provisioning process in the bank. So you can refer to this particular circular, and you just check whenever you are doing audit, what is the method or what is the way through which bank is complying with this particular circular. Because nowadays it is mandatory for downgradation also and for upgradation of the account also. The bank should have a proper system. And the circular says that it should be part of day-end process. So when you are seeking, as I told you in some of the previous slides, that there is a concept of BOD and EOD. So BOD is beginning of the day, EOD means end of the day. So the circular says that NPA classification should be part of your EOD. This circular has been effective from 1st June 2021. So whenever you are doing audit, so have a plan to check this particular aspect, that banks shall not resort to any manual intervention. So as far as the automation, as far as the NPA classification is there, you need to understand what is the detailed step-by-step process which the bank is following. What are the reports or what is the system of classification? So there should not be any manual intervention. But further, in exceptional cases, there is manual intervention is there. Then you need to check whether there is a two-level authorization or not. So there has to be maker-checker concept for any type of manual intervention. Further, if such things are there, then it should be captured in the exceptional report. So these are the things which you should take care when you are doing audit in CBS environment. Now, these are some of the points which I found that during our audit, we have certain issues, or I can say what are the, there are certain points which I would like to discuss or share with you, that even though CBS is there, but CBS is not taking care of such aspect. So in your audit program, in your audit checklist, you should include such type of checks to verify whether these things are happening or not. So we'll start one by one, checking of DP and updation in the system. So as you know, what is DP? DP is my drawing power. How the drawing power is calculated? Drawing power is calculated based on the stock statement, data statement, which has been provided by the customer. So the data of stock statement has to be fed in the system. You just check whether that data is properly fed in the system or not, and whether DP is properly and timely updated. Most of the time we have found that if my DP is below the sanction limit, then most of the time bank people are reluctant to change the DP. So be clear about that. Wherever there are some changes in DP, for example, ideally in case of CC, every month your DP needs to be updated. So check what is the frequency of updation of DP. Then integration of data in CBS. As I discussed that there are a lot of other applications which are integrated with the CBS. So nowadays you need to check whether the data which is there in other software, whether they are seamlessly interacting with the CBS or not. So example, any RTGS settlement. So RTGS settlement, what are the total number of checks and what is the total amount? So whether the bank has any control whenever they are transferring the data from other application to CBS. Nowadays it is automated, but still you need to ensure whether the complete data is transferred in my CBS or not. For that, you can refer to the SOP or circular which is issued by the bank. So there are internal circular which every bank is having. So you can refer or review that circular. So we'll have a fair idea how the transactions are flowing. Obviously, you are not doing system audit, but you are having a basic understanding of the controls which are there in the system as far as the data transfer is concerned. Then in most of the cases, we have found that even though CBS is there, but there are a lot of challenges or a lot of revenue leakages on account of interest on advances. So in your audit plan, you should include verification of interest. Compulsory, you have to verify interest on advances. Obviously, if you cannot verify for 100% for all the cases, but at least you can select sample. And while selecting the sample, you need to take care that you select adequate sample for all types of products. What I mean by all types of product means, generally we ask from the branch what are the top 20 accounts, and on top 20 account we verify. But this is not the correct way. Especially in case of interest on advances, you should select the sample for all type of advances. For example, vehicle loan, term loan, housing loan. So likewise, you need to select sample for each and every type of product. Then some of the bank we have found that accrued interest. So bank, in case of term loan, the bank is charging interest not on the last date of the financial year. The bank is charging interest before the end of the period. For example, on 31st December, they are not charging interest. They are charging this interest on 30th December. Similarly, if you are doing audit for 31st March, so some of the bank, they have charged interest up to 30th March. So they are not charged interest on 31st March. Why? This is due to there are so many other reasons due to which the bank has adopted such type of practice. So my last day interest, where the last day interest will be posted. So in one of the bank where we are doing the audit, so the accrued there is a concept of accrued interest where my 1 day interest is posted in the GL. So there is one entry, accrued interest account debit to income. So it is not posted individually to each and every account. If it is posted, then there is a report for such accrued interest. So you can check wherever you're doing audit, if there is a accrued interest in your GL, in your trial balances, you can ask for the accrued interest report from the bank, and you can get individual party-wise detail where the accrued interest calculation is being made, whether that accrued interest calculation is correct or not, or some of the accounts they are omitted from calculation of the accrued interest or not. Then next one is no unauthorized validating of transactions. So as you discussed about the validating, I already explained about this concept that validating has to be properly authorized. Then most of the banks now they are under CBS. Then they have adopted certain centralized processes. For example, GST, TDS, input tax credit, provision for unpaid bills, and TDS. So these are the various various processes which have been centralized. So when you are doing the audit, you need to understand what are the processes which are centralized, and is there any role of the branches? So most of the time branch have certain roles when we are discussing about this centralized process. Say example, GST input tax credit. So if the branch is not feeding the data properly in the system, say example, repairs and maintenance bill, and that repairs bill has got certain input GST. So if the branch is accounting entire expenses, obviously the GST portion will be missed out. So you need to check care of those points. You need to include in your audit checklist whether any such things are there or not. Pool account purchase and entries thereof. If your branch has got certain pool account, then you need to understand what are the pool account, what are the controls which are there in the pool accounting purchase, and how the branch is accounting the entry for buying of the pool, monthly collection of the pool, and reporting of NPA in case of pool account. So these are the things which you need to take care when you are checking the pool account. Then one of the cases we have found that in case of bank guarantee. So in some of the cases, suppose the customer surrender or customer say, I don't require bank guarantee. He has taken a bank guarantee for 3 years. But after 2 years, the purpose of BG is over. Now the customer comes to bank and he say, please, I am now surrendering the BG. Since I have paid, because most of the time bank is collecting the interest in advance for the entire period. For example, the bank has collected 3 years advance interest. Now, obviously, if the customer is coming, then bank has to refund that interest. So whatever the charges which have been refunded, you need to check what are the controls as far as the charges refunds are concerned. So we have found that there are certain revenue leakage, there are control lacunas. In case of CBS, CBS is not capable of calculating those type of charges. Control account, I have detailed discussion about sundry and suspense. So these are the points which are related to control account. You need to check what are the control account, how the reconciliation is being done, and is there any certain suspicious transaction in control account. As I explained you need to understand the nature of control account, where only debit balance is allowed, or only credit balance is allowed, or nil balance has to be there, or there is some cycle T+1 settlement. So likewise, you need to understand the nature of control account. Reversal of interest on NPA. Now, during the period or for prior period. So when we are doing the one of the mandate, especially if we are checking any NPA account, so interest has to be reversed. So most of the time we found that since there are a lot of data which has been migrated from the earlier system or from the earlier CBS. So what about the interest reversal? So in one of the bank we have found that interest reversal has been done for the current account. For example, whatever the NPA cases during the period. But what about the NPA cases, NPA which has been done prior to current period? For example, 2015, 2020, what are the, whether interest has been reversed in those cases properly or not? So it needs to be checked. Delay in review, renewal in CC and collection of charges during the interim period. So you need to check whether there is a delay in review or renewal and what are the charges which are collected for interim period. Security update system. Now, even though CBS is there, but security updation, there is a manual control. So what are the security which needs to be updated, whether there has been properly updated, periodically updated as per the requirement of the bank's internal circular or not, you need to check. So if you see NPA account, especially you need to take care of NPA account. The guidelines is that in case of NPA account, security evaluation has to be updated once in 3 years. So those things you need to check, and you need to check what is the value of the security, especially in case of NPA, whether realizable value has been created in the system or market value in the system. So there is a difference. You need to understand those difference, and you need to check whether proper security updation is done in the system or not. Then there are certain classification of related errors, because most of the time when we are certifying closing statement, we are certifying priority sector, non-priority sector, financial guarantee, non-financial guarantee. So in CBS, there is, as I told you, that there are most of the time you will find that there is a principle called as garbage in, garbage out. So whatever data which you are providing into the system, if you are not providing the correct data in the system, obviously my output will be incorrect. So most of the time the CBS is working on code basis. So whatever the codes which are there, which has been entered in the system, whether the codes are properly captured when the master data is captured. So those things you need to check. As I told you that garbage in, garbage out. So master data updation is very, very important when you are checking, when you are doing audit in CBS. So example, master data such as repayment schedule and rate of interest. So if rate of interest is incorrect, obviously my output will be incorrect and there will be revenue leakages. Especially you need to check in such cases where my rate of interest is linked with some of the external benchmark. So example, external benchmark may be MIBOR or some other GSEC security rate. So if that is the case, then you need to check how the rate of interest is updated periodically. And repayment schedule, as I told you, if my repayment schedule say, if my first installment start from 1/4/2021, and in the system, if I am entering as 1/4/22, then obviously you can imagine what can be the scenario. The account may turn NPA due to wrong entry of the repayment schedule. So you need to check such kind of entry. Then we have found that some of the time that CBS has been upgraded over a period of time. But the software which are used by the early bank, they are no longer, the support is not provided by the vendor. So bank were using those software. So whenever you are doing audit, you also check what are the software which are aligned with the CBS and whether those, whether their proper AMC agreements are there or not. And what is the, because if the support is not there, then obviously there is more risk that whatever the data which is generated by the software, they are not properly flowing into CBS. Then if you see, there are guidelines for early warning signals by the RBI. There are so many indicators, 21 or 22, 41, 42 indicators are there. But some of the indicators I have highlighted in this slide where you can check with the CBS. For example, fund transfer from related party. You can check account statement in CBS and you can comment on this aspect. Then foreign bill outstanding for longer periods. You can check the foreign bills balancing report and you can comment if there are some bills which are outstanding for the longer period. Bills remain overdue frequently. So you can generate a bills overdue report from the system and you can at a periodic interval and you can check whether there is a tendency from one or particular borrower where the bills are frequently overdrawn. Then frequent invocation of BG, development of LC. So you need to check account review, ACLI or ACLI INQ, there is option in the CBS. You can check the ledger of the customer and then identify what are the transactions, whether there are invocation of BG, whether there is a development of LC during the period. So if there is a frequent invocation, frequent development of LC, then these are early warning signals to be captured. Then interest funding by sanctioning additional facility. So you can review the account and check whether the bank has funded certain interest by giving additional sanctional facility. So these things can be checked with the help of CBS. So one of the case studies which I would like to discuss, because time is very short, so I will take only one or two case studies. Appropriation of recovery in NPA, legal expenses for NPA. So in one of the case where we're doing the audit, so during the financial year 22-23 last year, we have tested sample accounts where recovery is more than 1 crore. So as per the accounting policy of the bank, recovery made in NPA account has to be adjusted toward expenses, then unrealized interest, and then unclaimed interest, and lastly toward principal. The expenses are accounted. If you see the accounting entry of the expenses are generally accounted as law charges in GL. However, borrower by data is stored in NPA TM table. So in most of the account, recovery or expenses are not accounted while making the recovery. So when we have identified, especially in case of NPA recovery, the expenses were not properly booked, or even though the expenses were booked, the recovery was not properly adjusted toward expenses. So there were huge balances in crore which was not actual expenses which were recorded in NPA charges. So as I told you that there is in CBS, the computer works on principle of GI0. So if the data input is incorrect, obviously my output will be incorrect. Okay, so time allotted to me is over. So I will quickly go to the some of the important commands and then we can close up the session. So as far as the commands are concerned, I just wanted to highlight that most commands are from CBS Finacle, wherever we are seeing the commands. Then there is a concept of reports. So if you see the other Finacle, there are concept of reports. Report are either push based or pull based. Push means the reports are available and centralized location. And pull means you have to generate report from the system. So this is the pull technology through which you can generate the report. And commands are customized as per the bank. So some of the banks, for example, they are using Pinnacle, Axis Bank or BOB. They might be using, both are using Pinnacle, but some of the command may work in Axis Bank, some of the command may not work in BOB. So there you should not say Pinnacle yahan bhi hai, wahan bhi hai, so ideally command has to be same. So it may not be the correct scenario. So command can also change with updated version of CBS. And as far as FlexCube are there are no commands which are available. You can just simply go to and generate the reports which are available in the system. So quickly I will go through the important command. If you want to take the transaction, the option in Pinnacle is HACLI or HACLI-INQ. You can check this command. Then if you want to check DP, then the HACLHM, you can check individual cases wherever there is a change in DP, either in sanction limit or drawing power limit. So both things can be checked with this option. We want to check the repayment period. As I told you, that repayment schedule is very, very important. So you can check HACM or HLARSH, HLRFPSI, loan repayment schedule report, which is available in the Pinnacle. Interest rate history, if you want to check wherever there is a change in the rate of interest, you can check with this option, INTTM. Interest report, HAIMTRPT, it is a very good report. You can note down this report. This report will give you individual borrower-wise interest, date-wise interest, and normal interest and panel interest. So this is a very good report. As I told you that you need to check in your sample cases whether interest charge is correct or not. So this report will give you this individual borrower-wise report. Security maintenance, if you want to check whether the security is properly updated or not, these are the options: HUC, SUM, customer-wise security detail can be verified, HCMM, collateral master maintenance, SCLL, stock data, what are the data which is entered properly or not, you can check with these options. Lien marking, you can use HALM, account lien maintenance. And there are certain commands which are related to non-fund facility. HDCQRY, document credit. If you want to check about LC, this is the option. HGI, guarantee inquiry. If you want to check any particular guarantee, you can check with the option. Then there are certain commands related to trade finance. BI, bills inquiry, FBI, foreign bill inquiry. As we discussed in the beginning, balancing report. So there is BR, BPR, BRCR, collection bill reporting, purchase bill reporting. Okay, then there are certain type of charges. As we discussed that in CBS, there can be certain charges which are automated or certain charges which needs to be collected from the branch. So when you are doing audit, you need to check, you need to sit with the branch people and understand what are the charges which are automated and what are the charges which are collected from the branch manually. Okay, I think with this we can close the session. I think time is over. So we can take up the questions from the members.
Soni ji, here are a few questions from the members.
Yeah.
So first question is, what is the formula of generating balancing report?
Formula, there is no formula, basically I say command. What are the command? There is a command balancing report which is there. As I discussed in my slide, then for each and every type of balancing report, there are different type of command. For example, BR, BPR. So it will give me the balance report for bills purchase. BR, CPR. There are different types of commands. So for each type of balancing report, there are different types of commands. And one of the important thing which you need to understand is that, especially whenever you're doing branch audit, you can directly ask from the branch people. Give me balancing report of advances. Give me balancing report of bills. So directly they will give you the reports.
So I hope that.
But you need to understand
the formula. there is no such clear-cut formula, so the members have to go from branch to branch. I hope you are saying this.
No, branch to branch, I would say that there are different type of balancing report for each type of product. For example, there is a product called as bills purchase. There is a product called as bills for collection. So for each type of product, there are different types of commands. So you can go to the IC guideline, and you can, as the earlier speaker has pointed out, that there is a journal wherein individual balancing report concept is also being explained. So you can go to the detailed list of command. But the easiest way, if you are going to the branch, you can ask to the branch people, give me balancing report. So balancing report bolte hain to samajh mein aa jayega ki what is the balancing report. And every branch people, they are aware, they are regularly generating those balancing reports. And it is very, very good balancing report. Balancing report are very good to analyze anything.
Okay. Now the second question from the member is, please explain value dating of transaction. In LFAR manual intervention point, will it coincide with this?
Manual intervention, as far as value dating is concerned, I explained in the session that value dating means backdated transaction. Backdated transaction, why they are important? Basically, if you see interest application, so whenever interest is applied in any loans or advances, the interest is applied value dated wise. Okay, interest is not applied transaction date wise. So for that purpose, the banks are doing value dating, and it is a common phenomena across all the banks. So value dating are captured in exceptional report, and there are a concept of maker checker in value dating. So you need to check. It is not manual intervention. It will not form in manual intervention part as far as LFR is concerned.
Okay. So now the third question is, isn't the bank responsible to reconcile the suspense account? Otherwise, how can we identify long pending items?
If you see, there are, you go to any branches and you ask, it is a part of our closing circular. Each and every bank is giving closing circular. And especially most of the bank, wherever the members will be doing audit, they might be covered under concurrent audit. So especially in any concurrent audit, there is a mandate that they need to report upon what are the items which are pending in sundry and suspend. And in simple way, the bank will provide. Whenever, I think in the earlier session, we have discussed about engagement letter. So wherever you are giving engagement letter and you are giving requirement, wherever we are also doing audit, we are also sending requirement in advance. And then one of the requirement is that we ask what are the entries which are pending in sundry and suspend, item wise entries. And in my slide, I discussed that there is not one suspend, there is not one sundries. There can be multiple suspend, there can be multiple sundries, depending on the nature of item. So you need to scroll, you need to understand what are the type of sundry and what are the type of suspense. Hope I clarified.
So now again, the same question which you have already responded regarding the value dating, how to identify value dating transactions. You have already answered this question. Now the next question, how to determine manual intervention in CBS. I mean, probably the member wants to understand how to identify the manual intervention in CBS.
It is basically not a job of, I will say, the purview of statutory auditor. But if you find across such case, then you can report. Otherwise, it is very difficult. Because CBS, if you see, it is a very robust system. It's a huge application. What generally as a central auditor we do is, even as we are doing central audit, so we also cannot identify whether there are manual transaction. Obviously, we rely on the system audit report. So you can ask for the system audit report of the branch, or you can ask system of the bank if they share. Otherwise, you cannot comment on that particular part.
Okay. Now the next question from some member is, what are the ways to ensure NPA classification are system generated and no manual intervention? Member wants to ask that the NPA classification has been provided to him through system classified only, and whether we as branch auditor can ask for system auditor report as per RBI need to get system audit for relying on expert report on NPA automation related approach.
So as I told you that this circular was effective from 1st June 2021. So most of the bank, they were complied during the last year. Okay. And even some of the banks, RBI is asking from the bank to provide a certificate to that effect. So last year, if the bank has provided the certificate, you can ask the bank to provide the certificate. Or otherwise, there is a internal guidelines from the bank, especially from finance department or advance department. So as I told you, there are SOP, there are internal circular given by the bank. You can refer to those internal circular. What is the process of automation of the NPA? And if you review that process, you should review that process, but keep a documentation of that circular and check on sample basis whether that circular is particularly applicable or how the bank is, whether the such type of things are automatically done or not. You can select sample account wherever there is a downgradation or upgradation. Again, you check whether that has been done by system or there was a delay in classification of the NPA.
Okay. So now the next question from some member is, it has been observed that in earlier audit or stock audit, they calculate the DP on papers. And if DP is adequate, then they substitute the date. Therefore, DP history is not available on monthly basis. What can be the solution?
You report it. That is what I told you in my slide also, that DP has to be updated periodically, especially in case of stock statement. It should be updated on monthly basis. They should not substitute it. This is not a good practice.
Okay. Okay. Now the last question that we have received. Sometimes bank pays compensation to customer for certain part of failure in service. How to verify that compensation?
Again, can you repeat the question?
Sometimes bank pays compensation to customer for certain part of failure in service, probably deficiency or failure in service. So if compensation is paid by the bank, so how the auditor has to verify the same?
Okay, most of the time, if you say the compensation, if anything is paid, so it will not be within the purview of the branch. It will be generally approved by their higher authority, maybe regional office or maybe central office, depending on the type and quantum of the amount. So obviously, you can refer whether any compensation is there, then you should ask whether any letter has been obtained by the bank or approval has been obtained by the higher authorities. For most of the time, we scrutinize the ledger, because if you see the income GL, so obviously, if the income has been refunded, so there will be debit transaction in income head. Some of the income head you can scrutinize sample basis, there are any debit transaction, and you can inquire if there are debit transaction, whether proper authorization or approval process has been followed or not.
Okay. So, Girirajji, all these questions were just asked by the members, which you have duly replied. We are thankful to you and, of course, the earlier speaker, Premnathji from core of our heart, and of course, on behalf of committee for such wonderful deliberation. I am thankful to each and every persons who have attended this wonderful program. And since this is 3-day series, so this was the second day, and probably tomorrow, madam. Yes. So tomorrow we have again the session. I request all the members to kindly join the program and get them benefited from the deliberation of the learned speakers who are joining the committee for this program. So thanks each and everyone. And now this is over our today's session. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you. Thank you.